What is going on? I'm ZMOT. We are going to throw code ZMOT into that creator boost. That is vital if you guys want more content like this. By the way, it is ZMOT, not SMOT, not SMOG, not SNOT. So a little bit difficult on the typing at times. Some of you may have seen the decks that I created for season 44. I believe OP Destroy did a feature on them. I think Skull Crusher is going to do a feature on them as well. And they blew up a little bit, but I am not the most creative person in the world. So this video is going to be a little bit different. This video is going to be a little bit wonky as far as aspect ratio and stuff like that goes. Maybe it'll look good, maybe it won't. But more important are the details that are included. What I wanted to show you guys was all of the different options that exist for creating decks. That way, my goal here is to make a tool where you guys can do this yourselves, but maybe you can just tell me what you're after here and I'll do it for you for the time being, because a lot of things on my plate. So first of all, wanted to go over the ramps. There are two possible ramps, major ramps. This is the front ramp right here. And this is the side ramp right here. And as you can see, the side ramp is split into three different pieces. There's number 1, which I just showed, P2, and then there is P3. Nice, handy P1, P2, P3 markings. Now, on that note, we can have P1, P2, and P3. We can have just P1 and P2. And we can have just P2 and P3. I have requested that we be able to have P1 and P3 because that would be awesome, because that would allow us to be able to have 3 different ramps. We could have the front ramp, we could have P1 with a gap for P2, and then over to P3. So right now, there are a limited number of ramps. We can have all of the ones I just showed you. I would love to be able to have the front ramp and P1 and P3 just for a little bit different, but currently that does not exist, so skip that altogether. Those are all the different ramp options. Now, there are 23 different pieces that can come and go, and completely ignore where the engine rooms are, because those engine rooms can be floating in midair. As you can see there, in real life they can't be, but because I've removed the slot that they're on, you might have noticed that in OP Destroy's video, they look wonky, looks like a bug. This would never work. Like, for example, if we were to get rid of the side ramp altogether and get rid of the front ramp, obviously that's not going to work. Obviously this is not going to work because troops would not be able to get... Anyways, you get the basic idea. I'm going to show some things that aren't possible. Ignore those and let's focus on the things that are possible together. So we're going to turn all the ramps on just so that we have the full picture here. Now, this is piece number 1. That is the one that is required for that front ramp. This is piece number 2. We can turn off piece number 1. Any pieces of these can be put together. So there is piece number 3. I know it's a little bit confusing because piece number 3 shows P2, but you get the basic idea. We've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are required. Like, that could be a 2 engine room base right there, where you have all of the ramps and you split up your engine rooms as far as you possibly can. This could be a 2 engine room base if you wanted it to be. But just a reminder that at no point can you take something away once it's in. So you couldn't have this as the 2 engine room base and then this as the 3 engine room base, because there are defenses that are going to be there. They're going to disappear just like your trophies do when things happen. So when you're planning these ramp layouts that you want to build, this is what you have to have. You need to have your engine rooms in place, and then that deck can never go away for the duration of the season. So if this is your 2 engine rooms, this could be your 3 engine rooms. You don't even have to add anything, to be completely honest. You could literally have this as your 7 engine room base, as long as there's enough space for all the defenses in the season, which very likely is not the case. Like, this is not a good 7 engine room base in my opinion. Anyways, that piece right there is piece number 5. I'll go through these one by one. This is piece number 5. This is piece number 6. This is piece number 7. Number 8. Number 9. Number 10 back there. number 11, number 12, number 13, number 14. Some of these are very cool. I really like the shape of some of these. Now, please, when you're designing your base, don't say like, I'd love to have half of 15 and half of 16. It's not going to happen. Let's stick to designing these deck layouts based on the tools we have available to us. So that was 17. This is 18. This is 19. This is 20. This is 21. This is 22. And this is 23. So say, for example, you wanted to build a Tetris, an homage to Tetris. You could literally leave every single piece in there. You could then leave slot number 21 open because your favorite piece in Tetris looks just like that, and you're done. If you wanted to build a base, maybe that's your Tetris. Regardless, there are lots and lots of options. You can leave all sorts of things open, and if we keep going, I can eventually figure out what piece that is. Piece 13, for example, looks very, very cool. Now, one thing that I didn't mention that I really stress has to be done is they have to be connected. This would be cool for a rocket chopper base, sure, having one person with an engine room there and one person with an engine room back there. Or maybe you're going to force people to throw critters at the back, but realistically, that's not a viable option. It needs to work. You need to be able to walk your troops there. And this instance, however cool it might be, maybe you're going to design a season and call it like heavy. Like, that's the thing. Sorry, just to back up. We're not designing a season here. We're just designing the decking. Sure, you could design this and say, Supercell, please make it where rocket choppas and heavy choppas are the first troops. I'd be all over that, but we have no way of knowing. That's asking two things. First, we're going to ask them to accept our decking, and second, we're going to ask them to build their season around that. And let's be honest, someone who doesn't have instant training, if it's just rocket choppas and heavy choppas, they're going to have a bad time. So that is all of the things. That is me talking about small pieces of the puzzle for almost 8 minutes, but it is pulling back the curtain a little bit as we put all of these pieces out there. And I know that there are so many creative people in the Boom Beach community, and I am really not one of them. So the fact that you guys liked my decking, realistically, you're going to like everyone else's decking that much more. Like, there is so much value for me. Like, those giant gaps in the middle make it so much more visually appealing. It makes it so much more interesting for troop pathing. Side note, troops can't levitate like this villager. It is so much more interesting when your troops have to range from there to there, and they go as the crow flies, not as you would expect troops to go. It can be very frustrating, but I love it. I love the visual aspect of these giant gaps in the middle. And the gaps that I made in the middle were fairly small. These gaps could be even bigger. Like, we could have a giant void in the middle of the base. Like, look how giant this void can possibly. I think it's about as far as we can go. Side note number 2, someone way smarter than me is going to come up with a ridiculously good season name with the word void in it. Tiny bit bigger. Look how ridiculously amazing that looks. I missed a piece along that right-hand wall back in that neighborhood, and I have no idea what number that is. I think it's probably like a 3, a 4. There we go. Look how giant that void could be in the middle. Yes, that would suck as a 2-engine room base, because it would end up being like 2 minutes just to walk your heavies all the way to that back corner. Let's not do that to ourselves. Part of the good thing about the 2-engine room layouts is they've been small. We don't want to have to walk all of our troops back there and have the early season take 3 minutes per attack. That is going to be it for me, though. Hopefully this gets your mind thinking. On the background, I am going to be putting all these pieces into a website where you can click to enable them or disable them. You can then take screenshots bit by bit. I can't promise it'll ever happen, but you got to have goals, right? Anyways, that is all for me. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for listening. And more importantly, hopefully you guys can draw some images using maybe with Photoshop if you have it. Otherwise, just draw it with Notepad or with a pen and paper. Implement these pieces, send them my way. I will build them on the dev build and send them along to the dev team so they can implement them easily and quickly. Anyways, that is all for me. I'm ZMOT. Thanks for coming in. Peace.